It was a busy Friday evening at the Golden Fork, a trendy upscale restaurant renowned for its fine dining and celebrity clientele. The buzz inside the restaurant was like any other Friday night. Laughter and conversation filled the air as servers dashed around, ensuring every guest felt special. But that night, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Big Shaq, the famous basketball player, known for his towering presence and larger-than-life personality, walked through the door. His large frame drew immediate attention, his signature sunglasses on even though it was evening. Shaq wasn't just another face in the crowd, he was a walking legend. But tonight, he wasn't here to bask in the spotlight. He was here for a peaceful dinner, something he rarely got to enjoy. As he entered, the young waiter behind the counter, Daniel, caught sight of him. The restaurant had seen its fair share of celebrities, and to be honest, Daniel had grown a bit jaded. Another celebrity? No big deal. He was more concerned about his shift ending soon and the tips he'd be making tonight. So when he looked at Big Shaq, all he saw was another customer, a regular person. But as Shaq stepped up to the counter, Daniel couldn't resist muttering under his breath, "I swear these celebrities think they can just walk in and expect to get treated like royalty." He was frustrated with the constant influx of stars, each one expecting special treatment, but he didn't realize who he was talking about. Shaq, of course, heard it clearly, but he said nothing. He didn't react, didn't raise an eyebrow. Instead, he simply nodded politely, waiting for his table. Daniel, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, led Shaq to a small booth at the back of the restaurant. Shaq sat down, his calm demeanor hiding the fact that he was fully aware of the young man's disrespect. The waiter handed him a menu with a slight shrug. "Hope you're not expecting the red carpet treatment just because you're famous." "We get a lot of that around here," Daniel remarked, his tone dripping with sarcasm. It was clear that Daniel felt an unnecessary sense of superiority. He was the one in charge of this moment, after all, not some basketball player. Shaq, however, didn't flinch. He didn't let his frustration show. Instead, he accepted the menu quietly, still maintaining his signature calm. He had dealt with this kind of arrogance before, and this wasn't going to ruin his night, or so he thought. Daniel, still unaware of the star he was dealing with, walked away with a smug look on his face. He was still convinced that celebrities didn't deserve any special treatment, regardless of who they were. But Big Shaq had other plans. Shaq picked up his phone and, with a few swift taps, made a call to his trusted manager. The conversation was brief, but with those few words, the entire dynamic in the restaurant was about to change. Moments later, the manager, Alex, appeared at the table, visibly flustered. He was always professional, but tonight, he seemed unusually tense. He scanned the room, his eyes darting around until they landed on Big Shaq sitting in the booth. Alex's face went pale. "Is everything all right, sir?" Alex asked nervously, trying to regain his composure, his voice trembling slightly as he approached. Shaq, ever calm, looked up from his menu and simply replied, "It's fine, but I think someone here needs a lesson in respect." The words were calm but carried an undercurrent of authority. Alex was immediately aware of the situation. His eyes widened as he realized who he was speaking to. "Oh God," Alex thought to himself. "It's him." The owner, Shaq, didn't need to elaborate further. Alex already knew the gravity of the situation. The young waiter, Daniel, was about to find out the hard way who he had been insulting. The realization hit like a sledgehammer. Daniel had no idea who he was speaking to, and now he had just insulted the very man who owned the restaurant. The manager, Alex, stood frozen for a moment before swallowing hard and stepping away, whispering frantically to a fellow colleague. He could barely manage to speak, but the message was clear. The man at table 22 wasn't just another celebrity, he was the owner of the Golden Fork. The realization sent a shockwave through the staff, but Daniel, the young waiter, was still oblivious to the storm brewing behind him. Minutes passed. Daniel returned to the table, his back straight, still arrogantly convinced that he had done nothing wrong. He approached Shaq's table with the same careless attitude, but as he did, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Wait a minute." Daniel froze, his feet rooted to the floor. He turned to find the restaurant manager, Alex, approaching him, a grim expression on his face. "Did you just insult Mr. O'Neill?" Alex's voice was calm but laced with authority. He spoke slowly, making sure Daniel heard every word. "Mr. O'Neill?" Daniel stammered, his confidence beginning to waver. Wait, you mean Shaq? Alex nodded. Yes, Mr. O'Neill. You've just insulted the owner of this restaurant. The words hit Daniel like a freight train. His heart raced, his face flushed with a mixture of shock and embarrassment. The arrogant smile faded from his face, replaced by pure panic. He stood there, unable to speak, the weight of his mistake settling in. Shaq leaned back in his seat, arms crossed. His expression remained calm, but anyone who knew him could see the disappointment in his eyes. He had expected more from his staff, especially someone working at his restaurant. The lesson was about to be delivered. Let me make this clear, Shaq said, his deep voice carrying an air of finality. I don't mind taking a joke, but respect is something I don't tolerate. You can't talk to people like that, especially in my own place. Daniel opened his mouth to apologize, but Shaq raised a hand, silencing him. It's too late for apologies, Shaq continued. You've disrespected me, and now you'll face the consequences. The manager, Alex, nodded and turned to the rest of the staff, signaling them to gather. There was no way around it. Daniel's actions had crossed a line. The staff was now fully aware of what had just occurred, and they knew the importance of treating every guest with respect, no matter their stature. As for Daniel, he was asked to leave the restaurant. The decision wasn't made lightly, but Shaq was firm. No one would be allowed to mistreat anyone in his establishment, especially not a guest. The viral nature of the incident spread quickly. A short video clip showing Daniel's shocked face and Shaq's calm, measured response was soon circulating across social media platforms. The headline alone grabbed attention. Waiter who insulted Big Shaq didn't know he owned the restaurant. People couldn't get enough of the story, and the video was shared millions of times within hours. Shaq's calm and collected handling of the situation was praised by fans, while others criticized the waiter for his unprofessional behavior. It wasn't just about the waiter's mistake. It was about how disrespect can lead to severe consequences, especially when you least expect it. In the aftermath, Daniel became a viral figure, though not in the way he had hoped. His moment of arrogance had cost him his job, and the internet never let him forget it. The story of the waiter who insulted Big Shaq and the dramatic twist of learning he was the restaurant's owner became one of those unforgettable moments that the public could never stop talking about. It was a hard lesson in humility and a reminder to everyone. Never judge a book by its cover, and never disrespect a person without knowing their true identity. Do you think Shaq handled the situation well, or would you have done it differently? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories like this one.